Welcome to your Optavia LifeBook audio. My name is Christy Baker, and I am a certified Optavia health coach, and I'm so glad that you're here today. We have been moving steadily through the chapters of the LifeBook, and today we're going to be going through Element 3, Part 5. Before we jump in, I have just a few small favors to ask. Number one, please click the like button below, subscribe, and thirdly, feel free to share this with any of your other fellow Optavians. This is such a fantastic resource to have when you're out on the go and you need to get into your life book. It can make a world of difference as you go on your health journey with Optavia. So that being said, I'm super excited about this particular part of the chapter because we've gone through all the introduction stuff and now we are really laser focusing in on what it takes to create small habits that stack on each other to make lifelong change. So buckle up, here we go. We are starting on page 86 today. Identifying the micro habits to install. Sometimes the habits you are working on will be easy enough so that you will only need steps 1 and 2 to organize and build a new habit. Other times, we will have to do some more preparatory work to make sure that we effectively install the new habit. In part 1.5 of Dr. A's Habits of Health, the bedrock of transformation, successful habit installation, I explain in detail how critical it is to make sure you automate these new behaviors. The 3 questions you need to ask yourself to prepare to install a new habit is, number 1, is it appealing? Do I want to do it? Number 2, is it achievable? Can I actually do it? And number 3, is it easily activated? Is there a prompt that reminds me to do it? Is it so appealing that I can do it every day because this routine brings me such joy that I look forward to it? If that is the case, then great, just do it. But if it is something that will take effort or it's not something that you love to do, then we need to proceed with the second question. In order for it to be achievable, you have to be able to do it every day. That means even on the days when your motivation or your willpower is low, you can still do it. And on the days when you feel overwhelmed, you can still do it. It also means knowing that you have the time and ability to do this activity. This is the vital role of micro habits. They allow you to install behaviors that will automatically sustain your health in an effective way. A micro habit of health is by definition easy to do and always within your ability in terms of ease and effort. They take into account other limiting factors such as time constraints. I know that today's life can be extremely complex. Micro habits will help ensure that even when life gets in the way, you will always be able to carry out the habit. Imagine your secondary habits of health have been made so small in terms of effort that you can do them even on your worst days. When your willpower, discipline, and motivation are almost zero, you will be unstoppable. And on the days when your motivation is higher, you can do more. The base level of effort is so easy and simple that the daily repetition necessary for the installation is never in question. You can always do it. It is in this consistency and predictability that creates new behavior. By definition, a micro habit is a small, doable behavior that can always be completed. And on the days when you do more than is required, we call that a micro habit plus, which is defined as the ability to add more reps on the days when your motivation or conditions are favorable. The vital role of daily consistency is visually represented by the daily checks on the calendar that create a chain or a streak. As we discussed in Dr. A's Habits of Health, It takes an average of 66 days to install a new habit. It can be as low as 18 days for easy habits or several months for more complex new behaviors. The way that you'll know that it has been installed is that it will start getting a whole lot easier. So I've got a little chart to show you, and it says micro habit is a small choice that's so easy that there's no excuse. And then with consistency, you have enough time to install it. We have the plus situation when the motivation is high and that you're able to do more repetitions. What follows is an example of a small micro habit I was working on to overcome a long-term tendency. I would often describe the environment that I trained in as a critical care physician as a war zone. It was an era of Miami's cocaine cowboys. We seldom had more than a few minutes to eat between taking care of patients who were in critical condition and had a good chance of dying if they didn't receive nonstop attention. I developed a very poor habit of wolfing down my food. I fed as voraciously as my Labrador retrievers. Unfortunately, it became an ingrained habit. The effect on my health was significant and obvious. I decided to use my micro habit system to retrain my habit. I committed to the micro habit of chewing my food at least 5 times before swallowing. Today, on days when I'm more aware and not in a rush, I actually chew as much as 15 times. It took 2 months to retrain, but my pace of eating has slowed down and I enjoy my food more. As a result, I seldom eat more than I have put on my plate. This is now a micro habit in my macro habit of weight management category. My micro habit routine was increasing awareness of time to slow down during the fueling. My micro habit was chewing each bite 5 times. Plus consistency gave me enough time to fully digest and process my fueling. On the days where I felt a little bit more, I had the plus situation, I took more time to chew each bite up to 15 times. Now that I've shared my own challenge and the way I resolved it, it's your turn to pick a micro habit from the structural tension chart or one of your secondary choices. Make sure you spend time to make it small enough so that you are positive that you can do it every day. The great news is that you can start this habit immediately. So take a moment and think of a small step that will help you accomplish your larger macro habit. We started talking about the habit of healthy weight management, so maybe think of a small step that you can take that will help support that decision. Then identify if you have a plus situation where motivation is high and time is there, how could you get a couple extra reps in? Plus the consistency equals the result. Take a moment, text it to yourself. That way you can remember it when you check in with your coach sometime this week. Now that you have the means of decreasing the size of your new habits, you can be sure of its daily installation. That's the key to reprogramming. The brain and the mind is to automate a new behavior. If you do miss a day, make sure you make it your number one priority to do it the next day. If you miss 2 days, it becomes critical not to miss a third. If you do, you will probably need to go back and start all over again. Why? Because the brain disregards patterns that are not consistent. That's where we're going to stop today on page 90. I hope you found some value and some important takeaways to help support your greater habit, your macro habit of health. And like I said before, reflect and write those down so you remember them. Thanks for joining me today, and make sure you subscribe so you're aware of when the next video comes out.